The way that these messages are flowing through, I just have to bring you along for the ride because it's like so many things are just encoded into the field and revealing themselves to you. There were quite a few messages opening up, and you're going to know that this is for you within the first few sentences, is what I'm hearing. First of all, there is this element of surrender in your field where you're being called to surrender to the feminine force, the higher intelligence that flows through you and all things as the universe is one single being. This singular truth that binds all of our hearts as one. And through that shift of perspective, you shift into a greater paradigm. And I'm seeing it as literally galactic brothers and sisters opening up this safe corridor of passage where you're being beckoned to come and learn about what your life experiences on Earth could look like. Oh, I'm getting hot just opening up. I'm gonna have to, give me a second. I need to turn on the aircon and crank that up. That's better. Okay. So there were quite a few messages coming through last night and just weaving all through today for you. And it's all about a connection to the feminine side of yourself, which is your direct bridge into more of the subtle hidden architecture and layer of this construct, which is holographic in nature. And so I'm seeing much more that's happening behind the veil that's soon to reveal itself to you in the physical. It definitely reminds me of the Dream Weavers reading that I did. So if you came from there or you haven't seen it, I'll link it down below. It definitely feels like there is that elemental factor that you're having to surrender to. And when I say elemental, it's just some type of energy that's being infused into your experience that is undeniable at this stage of your journey. So the key words were trustful, as you're invited into this celestial banquet. That was a key word. So I'm going to use that as a keyword in a moment. But there was also an energy of venation, sensuality, like connecting with the five senses, which is your primary antenna when immersed inside of this terrestrial plane. And it's the mechanics of soul navigating the physical form. And what I've been seeing is not only you as a bioplasma being, but also other bioplasma beings that you're connected with. And it allows you to experience this shift to a counterpart Earth, where not only you're reminding others of their plasma-like state, but you're also seeing these beings kind of shapeshift, right? Shifting, seeing it from the perspective of the soul, and then the human vessel or ego that the timeless eternal being is utilizing as a divine instrument to navigate this realm. It definitely reminds you of the geomancer here at the base. And the geomancer is like, all right, that's her human form, right? And then you see her shapeshift into her spirit form. And it talks about something being woven through the fabric of your existence. It talks about she's reminiscent of the all-seeing eye. And then it reminded me of the Empress, if we talk about Venetian energy, which is, again, your connection to more of the subtle layer of this realm. I'm going to go ahead and read you some of the keywords of the Empress. So seeing past the veil and recognizing and remembering really that we are all one. There were quite a few messages that are coming through, so just bear with me. There's a trustful energy. So this is about merging opposites, coming across a glowing doorway in the middle of the shadow pool of water. And I see this is somewhere that you're being invited to step into, which is being in this world, but not becoming of this world. Being in this world, but experiencing a completely different dimensional layer of this reality. So it's not that you can't look at the things that the human eye can look at, but you can also see. And I'm hearing you're trusting your vision of foresight as well with the all-seeing eye of something that you're receiving a preview of, especially when it comes to life's upcomings. It's being seated in the stillness of your own heart, observing the intricacies and complexities of this third-dimensional construct that you're seated within, and allowing the universe that pulses through your entire being in this cosmic flow to reveal a higher, I'm seeing purpose woven through each one of your experiences. There was a higher purpose that has led to you coming back to or returning to particular attributes that have always been within you. This is what's coming through, right? And I'm hearing how that's going to be shared. I'm seeing a gift that's proffered. What is that? All right, let me go ahead and get these keywords. There's so much coming through. Just, it's one of those readings that I have to surrender to, because there's a song that I was channeling for this as well, so I'll read you the lyrics of it. But celestial banquet and proffered. Define when a gift or an attribute is proffered. What's the definition of proffered? What does that mean? I have no clue. So the peacock sits atop the door, and all of its feathers cascade down with eyes that seem to follow your every move. This is what I mean. You're being literally summoned and invited to return back to your plasma-like state, which is this non-physical. Plasma is, different forms of density. And I'm seeing your molecular structure begin to reassemble itself. Some type of, I'm seeing the keywords are like emanating, so something's emanating from your being. Plasma is also linked to the 𝓬𝓵𝓻𝓗, which is a magical event that can be witnessed. So I'm seeing this as how you're seeing the unfoldment of your life experiences. And I'm seeing a life beyond the veil and your connection beyond the veil, which is literally what the Empress is. It says that as you lock eyes with a bird, a feeling of ease washes over you. So it's this quiet comfort in the interactive element that you're participating in as an integral part of this system, an interconnected part of this system that would be incomplete without your unique design. It is the gatekeeper between the physical world and the spirit plane. It gives you assurance that you're moving forward and it will lead you into another fertile world. The pulsing colors within the door call you towards it, even if you're unsure of what is to come. This is what I mean. It's literally a trustful in the celestial banquet. Let me go ahead and look up these keywords, because I feel like this is going to encapsulate this whole message. And then I want to share with you the family of light. I was seeing this card in my mind's eye last night, so I want to share with you some of the messages from this. So the peacock lives between two worlds. I'm seeing you, again, being invited into that feminine force, because who is the Empress in the tarot? She's the octave that has embodied all four queens. So there's something around all four cardinal directions and elements within you that have come back online. What is one's energy? One's is your passion, your drive, your motivation, your life force. The geomancer here at the base, right, the Queen of Pentacles, she is how you ground that passion into the physical material plane, what it is that you actually create and anchor into this existence. It's the extension or expression of your soul and what that looks like as the soul creates in the physical realm. I'm seeing what emanates from its being. Then you have the Queen of Cups, which is about following these intuitive nudges. That was a huge message that was coming through before I opened up. It was all about following the intuitive nudges. And then you have the Queen of Swords, which is utilizing your discernment around what is true, what is distortion. And I'm hearing your decision-making skills and trusting the clarity that you have in some type of vision, even though it feels like you could be receiving things non-linearly or ahead of its time. That's what I'm seeing. So this card is about nurturing yourself. It's about grounded and the spiritual. Finding peace in the world that you live in. The peacock in a reading is representative of an increasingly strong bond to the earth or the need to reconnect with it. There is something around grounding, allowing yourself to be the grounded mystic within this experience. It's a union of unlikely things, and it asks to keep an open mind whenever possible. And I'm seeing this as the open eye, the open mind of the soul. A great traveler is the one that knows how to travel with the mind. So proffered means offered, presented, or extended to someone for acceptance, usually willingly or formally. So a gift that's proffered shows a gift that you're going to be offering. It also is the opportunity was proffered to him. So an opportunity could be presented to you. When you're talking about a gift or attribute being proffered, it means that the gift is being made available, bestowed, or offered to someone. It doesn't necessarily mean they've accepted or embodied it yet, only that it's being extended to them. Yeah, I'm seeing this as your guides. Again, something being proffered, and it's like, are you ready to actually embody this? But you're getting acquainted with this essence or this element, especially because we have fusion here at the base, which is the integration of the divine masculine and the divine feminine, which is the soul and then the physical vessel that the soul incarnates into. that enriches its experience, that nourishes its experience within this terrestrial plane. And then it creates something that hasn't been seen before. So it definitely reminds you of the reading around you're creating something that the world hasn't seen. That's what this is giving me. And it's how the universe desires to express itself through your unique frequency as a conduit, especially because I was shuffling some cards before this message and we had the hollow bone teachability, which is being so humble that the wind of spirit moves through you. And then you have a change in the wind, which is a sudden shift of direction that you're having to really surrender to. Surrender seems to be a key word that's been coming through. Let me go and define celestial banquet. What does that mean? That was another keyword that was coming through with celestial banquet. And another message I was seeing last night. So I was saying that Venus represents our relationship with the five senses, and it's essentially the way that consciousness communicates through the physical body. And so the more present you are within your physical vessel, it's a highly intelligent organism of consciousness that's constantly communicating with you. But are you still enough to pay attention? Because your body signals is actually a form of intuition. That was a message that was coming through. And I'm seeing it's designed to actually bring more comfort to the soul while inside of the physical realm, instead of rejecting what the body is trying to teach us. And I'm seeing you return to the body. It could be through acts of pleasure. It could be through, breath. If we talk about the feminine, it's about movement and this sensory awareness that you have as you move through this system, like really allowing your higher intelligence to fully anchor throughout the entire organism. It's about becoming the embodiment of your higher self in physical form, which is gamma perception and superhuman consciousness. Is essentially saying what would be the highest expression or response to this signal within my life, and being able to honor that. I'm seeing like a signal within that's guiding you to certain elemental factors seems to be a keyword. But yeah, it feels like there's some type of emotion that's traveling through the body and you're being called to be present with it, because the higher self doesn't want to be anchored throughout the entire organism if there is so much density. And what accumulates density within the body, and especially energetically, because we have many fields of creation and we're always creating, well, the strongest form of creation is from the emotional field, is being able to alchemize that, which is saying, okay, I may be feeling this way, but what's an alternative way to feel about this? So for example, for frustration, that shows you the gap between where you are and where you want to be, is literally revealing where the soul is asking for some type of intention to be honored. And the first thing that you would need is acceptance. Acceptance instantaneously neutralizes your relationship to where it is that you are. If you can fully accept where you are, then the paradox is that you cannot change or create the change that you want to see unless you fully inhabit the timeline that you're in, but then also anchor in a higher expression to your current timeline. That's what I'm seeing, like a higher way of being into your current coordinates. This definitely reminds me of an astral travel message that I had last night. Let me see if I can get up some of the messages for you. And it was the node shifting. So this could have been activated in your field now. I was saying how you're being prepared for the nodes to shift. I also saw different beings, like all of you, that found me at different stages of your evolution, but you entered through the same portal of resonance that was through the current wavelength. And I said everyone held this frequency and was being walked into this portal. And I said it's not always about what you want, it's about which version of self you're embodying within your current timeline. And that's going to create the changes that you want to see. And then I said congratulations on following through with something that your soul came here to do. So there's something that you're honoring now where all you have to do is imagine your highest timeline, find the associated feeling, and devote yourself to living in that feeling all throughout your day. So this is an invitation into embodiment, an invitation into integration. To integrate is to heal. To heal is to become whole. It's to not wait for something to happen in order for you to feel gratitude, but it's like you collapse time by feeling gratitude for something before it even arrives into your physical experience, because you always attract what you are, not what you want. So there's an energy of frequency in the realm of frequency and diving into the feminine force within you. And then celestial banquet. Okay, celestial banquet is a heavenly feast or a gathering. And it says it's related to the heavens, the cosmos, the divine, or the spiritual realms. A banquet is a lavish feast. So I'm seeing this as life experiences, especially because with the peacock, it reminds me of Gaia being a conscious womb. And if we think about a womb, it's a container that nourishes and assists within a being or organism's development. And I'm seeing some type of developmental phase of growth that you're going through. And I'm hearing exponential growth, exceptional growth. And don't underestimate how that growth also comes with you outgrowing certain behaviors or patterns. That's what I'm seeing as the human condition lifts. It catalyzes this profound awakening so that we are able to take accountability into creating the life that we desire. And I'm hearing creating a life that we're going to be able to actually really admire. And I'm seeing you being guided into a answered prayer where you're going to be seated inside of a reality that you had once prayed to arrive in. Okay, you once prayed for. That's what this is giving me. Anyway, it's a celebration and a gathering where abundance is shared. It literally means a feast in heaven. And so this reminds me of congratulations, you've arrived into the new earth. Shifting into 5D is a state of awareness. It's not a location. And so you can be in the third dimension, but then also experience it from higher levels of perception, which is to be seated within 0-point awareness. And that's where true unconditional love emerges for everything that has contributed towards your only desire within this system, which was the desire to remember oneself while being immersed inside of the dream or physical reality. Because the moment that you wake up inside of this dream and become lucid, you can start guiding the third dimension towards your chosen destination of whatever you choose to experience. It feels like myriad opportunities available for you. So a celestial banquet can be divine abundance, so something that's overflowing, also a spiritual communion, and that's exactly what I was seeing. It talks about souls, angels, ancestors, and divine beings gathering in harmony. So this was the family of light energy, which I'll read to you in a moment. And being invited to a celestial banquet, which is a higher state of consciousness or some kind of sense of belonging. It also talks about celebration after completion, so honoring a spiritual milestone, which I feel like you've definitely hit, some type of initiation or fulfillment of a soul's journey. So the banquet is nourishment for the soul, and souls that partake in the abundance of divine wisdom, love, remembrance, and spiritual nourishment being invited to experience everything that enriches the soul. Then this channeled song was coming through, so I'm going to read to you the lyrics, and it's by Billy Joel, and it's called Vienna. It says, "Slow down, you crazy child. You're so ambitious for a juvenile. But then, if you're so smart, tell me why are you still so afraid? Where's the fire? What's the hurry about? You better call it off before you burn it out. You got so much to do and only so many hours in a day. Slow down, you're doing fine. You can't be everything you want to be before your time. Although it's so romantic on the borderline tonight. Too bad, but it's the life you need. You're so ahead of yourself that you forgot what you need. Though you can see when you're wrong, you know you can't see when you're right. And you're right. You've got passion, you've got your pride. But don't you know that only fools are satisfied? Dream on, but don't imagine they'll all come true. When will you realize Vienna waits for you?" It's giving your dreams come true and exactly in the way that you need them to. It may not happen in the way that you plan, and it's because there's a higher plan unfolding for your life. I'm going to read to you Family of Light now so that you can see what the messages are from this card, because this whole message was inspired by what was coming through from here. Okay, so the Family of Light card talks about signs, guidance, innate and ancient wisdom, new blessings, and divine initiation. 1111, 1234, 2222, or 4444 could be significant. And the affirmation is, I allow the angels to speak to me through the numbers on the clock and in many other ways. So this is literally high dimensional beings that are I'm hearing gathering together to invite you into a celestial banquet. They're gathering together and attempting to get your attention through the symbols and synchronicities that are hidden within plain sight within your experience. So it's your ability. It kind of reminds you of when you have Black Moon Lilith in Pisces, which is a being who is literally in this world, but has this direct access point to another dimensional layer of this reality that exists within higher bandwidths of frequency light. And so they can deeply inspire others, but then also the word is arc, those that feel like they always have their heads in the clouds, or they always have this direct access to a hidden wellspring of knowledge and that they can't really access by looking outside of themselves. It happens by feeling the universe reverberate and pulse through your entire being. And so there's an essence of, don't go to outer space when you're being called to go to inner space, because the paradox is the deeper that you go within oneself, the higher dimensions that you're able to access. So have you noticed the signs and symbols from your family of light? The angels and guides are here to show you numbers, gestures, and symbols to give you guidance. They give you colors, fragrance, and reflections of light to make you feel loved and inviting you to connect your heart. And that's exactly what it was. To connect your heart space and to see life on earth through the lens of the heart is to recognize your interconnectedness to all things. So perhaps a bird starts to communicate with you, or you have a meaningful dream or vision that shows you the next step on your path of light. You're being invited to open your heart to your family of light. You might feel let down by them or feel that they are demanding, but know that it's understandable and that you bring your human emotions into the embrace of their unconditional love. Your emotions will be received with compassion because your light family loves you unconditionally and they understand the suffering within the old paradigm. Again, it's to the point where we remove all distortion, we remove all judgment, internal and external, when we are left with nothing but light. When it's just you and the source, and everything else dismantles, everything else melts away, then you return to ultimate truth. Family of light is different subdivisions and extensions and expressions of the one. It's one source wearing many masks. And there's this interactive element, and you're a part of this integral, interconnected web. It's a design that is self-organized, where certain beings filter into your experience to assist you. And these are different archetypal forms that one consciousness assembles itself into. I'm seeing that, like, when it gives me like Spirit Team, where, the Avengers, is that like the thing where they're like Avengers assemble? It's giving me that. Or what's the one where they turn into those different cars? I can't even think about it, but it's like shape-shifting. It's giving very shape-shifting energy. So these are templates to align with what your soul's intentions were before this human incarnation. And it basically talks about wisdom cannot be taught through demands, but is transmitted through this love and this freedom and this liberation that you can feel while seated inside of the physical experience. And the wisdom already resides within your own heart, which is the source of all wisdom. So all children of light learning to return to that wisdom once again. It kind of gives me that. Can you define what it means when different beings of light assemble into your experience or are deployed? It definitely gives me that energy of like energy being deployed. You might want to watch the Spirit Guides teaching that I did. It's like a masterclass, and I break down what Spirit Guides actually are, which are subconscious projections of your projections, essentially, that are encoded within your field at the time of birth. And it's different forms that consciousness essentially takes, where it collapses into different archetypal expressions that can communicate with you in this third dimensional experience, because it's a way that the human mind can, compress this infinite complex information through these conduits. These conduits essentially are encoded into different dimensional fields. These different dimensions retain a level of information. And so the beings that occupy this realm act as bridges between the information and then also being able to allow that information to flow through you. And I'm seeing weave throughout your being. All right. So it's a remembrance that happens. And so they serve as bridges or gatekeepers into accessing the information within those realms. So that's exactly what it is, right? So it's not to actually attach to the archetypes, but it's more so the information that's incredibly rejuvenating for you at this stage of your journey. So when different beings of light assemble into our experience, it means that multiple forms of spirit guidance, support, intelligence, or protection are believed to gather around a person, place, or situation for a shared purpose. So again, something is assembling into your experience. It's definitely giving me, again, it could be for a specific task or purpose that it feels like you're being assigned. But yeah, deployed is something that's been assigned or sent into action, and to assemble is something that's gathered or converged into your experience. So that could be to assist you in a particular need, lesson, transition, or divine assignment. So that's exactly what was going on, right? Was that all of it? I think that was all of it. So I'm gonna go ahead and I just want this to be a shorter message today. I just wanted this to come through. I'm gonna get let me get an advice. I'm gonna get a Cosmos Oracle. You have attraction, so you're attracting something into your experience through the heart space. 528 Hertz is literally the frequency of love and the frequency of gratitude. So it's actually in you connecting with more of the divine feminine essence, which is, I'm hearing this luminescent presence. It's this force. And if we think about something that's luminescent, it emanates and shines with its brilliant light effortlessly by connecting to what it is that it's always been, which is this eternal being. And I'm seeing that wisdom blossoms from within. That wisdom blossoms by navigating your internal realms and your connection to the hidden architecture that lies within you, that is encoded within you. So attraction is attraction towards a person, object, thing, or situation that vibrates in a similar wavelength to your own. So you're always attracting what's in resonance, and it feels like there's a signal that you sent out into the quantum field. It could be for some kind of assistance or confirmation, and there are just beings of light that are bridges of connections that are there to reinform you. Okay, I'm kind of like seeing reinform the 528 frequency, which is to unite, integrate, and to embrace. Everything in the world is made up of energy. This energy can neither be created nor can it be destroyed. The energy vibrates at different vibrational frequencies due to which it gets its unique nature. Do you want to know the most powerful energy source in all, which is the love frequency? How can you doubt what develops through an act of love? It's from here that everything is born. Love is an artist who works in silence, and generally the most transformative acts do not make much noise. They're like the person who collects your rubbish early in the morning. You do not know their motive, their name, their life, but they are still there every day doing something essential for you. It literally talks about how sometimes the clouds are floating or moving and blocking the rays of the sun, yet it doesn't mean that the sun can't be found in the meeting. Sometimes it uses that temporal roadblock as a way to surprise you in your experience, and it just feels like there's something that's happening behind the scenes that you don't see quite yet. There can be no large action without individual action. What seems like small gestures combine to create an invisible yet an indestructible connection. Love works like the universe, unseen and outside of the spectrum, but tangible in everyone's senses. 528 Hertz is used to return the DNA to its original state. All right, so this is the human's DNA, and within the DNA holds memory, okay, within the nucleus. So there is something that you're remembering when it comes to your connection to all things, essentially, right? One consciousness wearing many masks. Oh, and then another message in the astral realm I saw was someone seeing how your body responds and how your body actually remembers something. And it's because within your body contains trillions of cells that hold the memory of the earth, which hold the memory of the Akashic field, which is your body remembering every single infinite timeline of experience encoded within this realm, readily available for you. And you get to embody, I'm hearing, and have that consciousness or that version or expression or extension of yourself inhabit your being within your current timeline. That's what I'm seeing. There's something like that where your body's remembering. Yeah, I'm just seeing breath being your bridge to connection within this realm. Like, this is your advice. So your advice is to focus on these many mediums. Focus on reconnecting back into the heart space. by turning inwards. Let's get any advice for you in your shaman school oracle. Moon Maiden. Okay. Moon Maiden talks about a part of yourself that has been working behind the scenes and is now ready to be revealed to the light. I literally opened it on the Moon Maiden card, which is crazy. This could be because the full moon in Aquarius is literally coming up on the 29th. So this says new ideas beginning and curiosity. Again, this full moon is actually conjunct Pluto. And so there is this energy of things being excavated from the depths of your being, seeking transformation. And I'm hearing seeking liberation. There is some type of way that the soul is seeking greater freedom within this experience, and it only comes from zooming out and gaining a greater vantage point into what's happening in your life and the benefit that it has for the soul's evolution in a way that you may not be able to fully currently understand. So the moon, I'm hearing, even if that's moving through times of uncertainty, it's actually allowing you to cultivate this deeper connection. I'm hearing foster this deeper connection to the other side or to more of the subtle influences in this realm. So the Moon Maiden arrives to offer you a new beginning, a new face and facet of yourself that's aching to be shown to the world. Those qualities that you've been quietly cultivating are ready for the limelight. The secrecy was important, for it protected your face and kept what was precious close to your heart. But now is the time to come forward in full splendor, announce the new you to yourself first, and then reveal it slowly to the world, like the waxing moon. Allow others to be as surprised by how mature and grown up this side of you is. This is full embodiment. You know, trees do not announce their growth. Silence really is its own transmission. The Moon Maiden belongs only to herself, and she's summoning the parts of you that challenge convention, that refuse to be intimidated, and that cannot be tamed or put inside of a golden cage. The Moon Maiden invites you to shine with your own light, to have radiant curiosity, and to ask anyone who offers you a mouthful of dogma, why do you believe this is so? Question everything others assume as a given, and do not collude with the drama around you. Become an unpredictable yet an eminently reliable friend. I'm seeing this even to yourself. The Moon Maiden invites you to answer only to yourself and reminds you that you're not anyone's property. I'm seeing even old versions of yourself, okay, or versions of yourself that are calling for attention or calling for love, because you have falling angel at the base, spiritual narcolepsy, which says it's not the time to go to sleep right now, or to sleep on what your soul's intentions are. You know how to rise to the occasion just unfailingly as the moon does. When the time comes, you return to darkness and become enshrouded in mystery until you're ready to return. So there's some type of unfoldment here. It feels like things are unfolding or you know, rising within you, surfacing within you, to be felt, to be acknowledged, and to be released. You know, this an energy of okay, it's okay. Humans suffer when they take too seriously what the gods made for fun. And there is an element of, you know, we even have the phoenix, which is literally also to do with the Hierophant energy. And this is the counterpart of the Empress. So this is the bridge between spirit having this assemblage point, which is where you begin to take on the physical form of your soul's expression. And that looks like pure unconditional love, which is pure awareness of what this system truly is. I'm going to read to you the Hierophant and then I'm going to leave you right there. There's something symbolic with this. So the Hierophant talks about spirituality, oneness, and it says it holds essences of everything great. With these memories guiding the giant bird, it dances in the sky in true freedom, celebrating your new awakening. And in the beauty of this mind, void of all inhibitions, you realize that you are finally free too. If the phoenix appears, it's a time for celebration as you're approaching a new awakening and an internal holiness with the self. There is a magic bubbling inside of you that only needs your complete oneness in order to soar. Do not become too rigid in your expectations. There's an undeniable natural changeability that will happen within the self. Allowing patience and room for the spiritual awakening to take place will lead you to soar to greater heights. So there's something about surrendering in the physical realm actually gives you more freedom to let go and release, makes room for you to receive everything else in the meeting. That's what this is. I'm hearing it gives way for new elements to actually find you. And so I'm seeing that. I'm also seeing you being kind of walked up to something, almost like where you're being given away by maybe a certain guide who's assist you at, or a certain version of yourself, and is walking you towards this new doorway where there are new guides to be found in the meeting. And it just feels like, you know, new ways of thinking about your life experiences, new ways of relating to them. And something's being passed on. It's like it could be the old version of self and then the new version of self, but the version that you've had to be in order to get here is no longer the version that you have to be moving forward, especially because that full moon in Aquarius energy, which I'll link both the readings in the comment section down below, is definitely worth watching them if you haven't, or to recap, because I go into way more depth with it, is Hades. It's going through the underworld. And so Venus, which is the Empress, is not the same person exiting the underworld as she was entering it. There is this deep connection that she has restored within herself and her own shape-shifting abilities with Pluto, where she comes out very different. She comes out having had no other option but to forge herself and to forge her own path of light. And that eternal light that she's reconnected to within herself forever guides her path. And she doesn't doubt that. It gives me this element. Let me read to you something that I shared on my Instagram real quick. And then I'm going to leave you right there. It's 5:55 on the clock right now as we close out this message. So literally you being summoned in outside of your comfort zone. It says, feeling good about yourself changes everything that you attract. Believe in yourself so much that you have no time or energy to worry, stress, or doubt yourself, because you'll be in the right place at the right time for what's meant to be. That's exactly what this says. So I'm going to love and leave you right there. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, do consider subscribing because we'd love to have you around. Personal reading details are also down below. Also check out OTTER if you're looking for some high quality AAE grade gemstones. One of the proceeds are donated towards OTTER Sanctuaries. You have 2 discount codes found in the description box. Today I'm wearing rhodonite, kunzite, and then also rose quartz. So it's all heart as chakra energy. And yeah, that's going to be it. Let me know what this is for you and how that corresponds with your own journey. Until next time, bye.
Clouds in the sky, don't care if I stay.